The Eridani campaign began with laughter, not human laughter, but the shrill, hissing kind that echoed through the calms of the Valari Dominion, an empire that spanned 100 suns and considered itself the galaxy's rightful ruler. Their fleet, a lattice of living metal and bioluminescent hulls, hung above the green and blue colony world of Eridani 4. 30,000 human settlers lived there, farmers, scientists, children. No soldiers. When the Valari arrived, they didn't issue demands or open negotiations. They simply broadcast a message to the colony's planetary net. Your claim upon this world is rescinded. The Dominion has deemed your species too delicate to hold ground so far from its cradle. You will be purged. The storms of the galaxy are not for the fragile. Then they fired. Cities melted under the heat of fusion lances. Oceans boiled. The atmosphere turned to ash. A single human vessel, the diplomatic frigate Solace, tried to transmit a distress call. The Valari destroyed it mid-sentence, the transmission cutting off at, "This is the United Terran." When it was done, the Valari fleet commander, Admiral Zarthun, looked upon the burning planet and said to his subordinates, "See? They spread like mold, yet crumble like sand. Earth breeds soft creatures. They cannot endure the void." He ordered the remains of the colony to be broadcast across Dominion channels, as a lesson, a warning, a joke. But in the shadows between stars, that transmission traveled farther than he knew. It reached Earth, and Earth listened. The mockery of the stars, for a standard cycle, the Valari celebrated. Hollows of the burning colony played in noble halls and military gatherings. Their orators spun tales of the fragile ones, the humans who thought themselves explorers, who mistook kindness for strength. Even their younglings learned to recite the jest. How do you kill a human colony? Blow softly. They'll fall apart themselves. They boasted that the Terrans would do nothing, that humanity's famed diplomatic corps would send words, not weapons. That Earth was weak, a green world sheltered by its own atmosphere, too sentimental to survive in the true galaxy. The Dominion High Council even issued a proclamation. Let the fragile world grieve. We have taught it the order of the stars. Their fleets returned to their borders. The galaxy turned away, shrugging. No one expected a reply. But in the void between Earth and Eridani, silence became the loudest sound in the galaxy. The quiet before the hurricane, it began with a blackout. Valari listening posts along the Perseus Arm went dark. Their long-range scanners failed. Patrols vanished. Communications flickered, static filling the channels where laughter once echoed. The Dominion thought it was technical failure. They dispatched scouts. None returned. Then came the whispers, 1,000 untraceable transmissions, bursts of encrypted code, fragmented signals bouncing across subspace. Some thought it was pirate chatter. Others said it was the humans, mourning. But then, a single message reached every Valari command ship simultaneously, carried on a frequency so old, so simple, that no modern system could block it. We have heard your laughter. The words appeared on every screen, in every language the humans had ever learned to speak. Then, one line more. You mistake silence for fragility. You will learn the sound of our storms. The Valari scoffed. They were an empire of billions. Their fleets numbered in the tens of thousands. What could the humans possibly do? But those who had studied Earth, the few, xenologists who had read Terran history, began to tremble because they remembered something about storms. They remembered that humans were born in them. For the awakening of Earth, when the Eridani broadcast reached Earth, the world did not wail. It stilled, factories fell silent, orbits cleared. Every government, every corporate state, every independent shipwright aligned under a single banner. Something unseen since the early unification centuries ago. The Terran Accord issued one statement to the galactic net. We are returning what was taken. And then they closed the network. No one knew what happened on Earth for the next 3 months. The planet itself vanished behind an electronic veil. No signals in or out, satellites went dark, trade stopped, and then the clouds gathered, from the shipyards above Luna to the deep ice forges of Europa. Engines screamed into life, old ship classes, the Titan carriers, the Nemesis dreadnoughts, long decommissioned, were pulled from orbital graves and reforged. But these were not the ships the Valari remembered from old human wars. These were storms-made metal, ion-sheathed hulls, warp-wake engines that tore gravity itself, weapons that burned through time lag. The fleets that emerged did not speak. They did not announce, they simply began moving. They were called Tempest Fleets.V, the first Lightning, the Valari outpost of Ilith Prime was the first to vanish. Scans later revealed it hadn't been bombarded. It had been erased. Every molecule of its mass had been atomized and scattered through space, as if a storm had passed and taken the air itself with it. Then came the next, and the next. Dozens of border worlds went dark in a single night. Valari admirals panicked, deploying entire armadas to intercept the unknown attackers. When they found them, it was already too late. The humans didn't communicate, didn't taunt, didn't broadcast demands or explain themselves. They appeared like thunderheads, massive, silent, and sudden. Valari ships fired first, their plasma arcs filling the void with ultraviolet brilliance. The human response came seconds later, and it was biblical. A single Terran salvo tore through the entire formation, kinetic lances traveling at fractions of light speed, carrying more energy than planetary cores. Valari cruisers shattered. Battleships folded in on themselves. The survivors described it not as combat, but as whether one captain's final transmission was recovered by a Dominion relay before her ship disintegrated. They move like storms. They are storms. You cannot fight the wind. You can only drown in it. 6. The breaking of the Dominion. The Valari High Council ordered total war. Entire sectors were militarized. Conscripts flooded the fleets. They prepared for a defensive campaign spanning hundreds of light years. But humanity didn't attack along borders. They struck like lightning. They bypassed fortifications, burning through warp space in ways no other species had mastered. Valari communications relays screamed with alerts from every direction. Sector 12 lost contact. Outer colonies under orbital siege. Home defense fleet destroyed at Yoth Prime. Within 3 weeks, half the Dominion's infrastructure was gone. And then, the humans sent another message. Brief, cold, and merciless. You called us fragile. You will learn what breaks. Then came the Maelstrom campaign, entire. Terran stormfleets swept across the Valari core. Worlds' orbital bombardments ignited. Atmospheres, continents were stripped bare by rail lance, fire and neutron storms, where the Valari once mocked humanity's emotion. They now heard none. No vengeance shouted from the comms. No joy, no fury, just silence and death. 7. The fall of Zarthun. Admiral Zarthun, the conqueror of Eridani IV, commanded the last surviving Dominion fleet near their capital world, Valerian Prime. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, Crown of Suns, as the human armada emerged from warp. Not hundreds, not thousands, tens of thousands. Ships of every class, their formation stretching across the heavens. They blocked out the stars. The Terrans didn't speak, didn't identify themselves. But their ships began to glow, each one a miniature stormfront, arcs of lightning crawling across hulls charged with atmosphere-simulated fields. Then, for the first and only time, they transmitted directly to Zarthun, a human voice, calm, weary, but edged with something older than war, and said, "You burned one of our worlds to ash. You called it weakness. You were wrong." Zarthun, proud and unbending, replied, "You are fury without reason." "We acted by right of empire," the voice responded. "Empires are sandcastles in the tide. You built yours on the graves of others. Now the storm comes for you." The line went dead. The human fleet opened fire. The Valari defenses, billions of tons of armor and shield arrays, lasted 43 seconds. Valerian Prime was not conquered. It was erased. The storm subsides when it was over. The Dominion was gone. Their fleets turned to drifting wreckage. Their worlds, silent, glassed, or abandoned. The rest of the galaxy watched in horror. Dozens of empires sealed their borders. Trade routes shifted. No one dared transmit toward Sol. And yet, as suddenly as it had begun, the storm ended. The Tempest fleets halted. They didn't occupy, didn't conquer, didn't claim territory. They simply withdrew, silent as they came. The last message humanity sent before vanishing into their own system read only, "We desired peace. You desired proof of our strength. You have it now. Let the galaxy remember. Earth is fragile like a storm cloud. Soft, until it breaks. Nigh." The echoes of fragility centuries later. The ruins of the Valari Dominion still float through space. No one rebuilds there. No one even charts those sectors. Every vessel that enters reports the same. Strange static in the comms. Echoes of thunder. Ghost signatures of ships that shouldn't exist. The galaxy whispers about the fragile ones. The name, once mocking, has become a warning. Children of 1,000 species grow up with the same tale. Do not provoke the world called Earth. do not wake the storms that sleep. There, because everyone now knows what the Valari learned too late, that fragility is not weakness, that storms are born from quiet skies, and that when Earth's patience breaks, the galaxy drowns. The aliens claimed Earth fragile and died in its storms.